Hello everyone, I am back with another video, doing something a little different than my usual gaming related videos. Today I'm going to be taking a look at my top 10 Disney movies of all time. Now I want to preface this by saying that none of these movies came out in the last decade, and I don't even believe any of these movies came out within the 2000s. You know, as much as I love some of the recent Disney movies, I don't think any of them really hold a candle to the classic Disney movies that I grew up watching that came out in the, as early as the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. I really don't think they compare. They're great, don't get me wrong, but I really don't think they compare to some of these classics. And I also want to preface this by saying that none of these movies are Pixar. I wanted to completely kind of distinguish the Pixar Disney movies from this list. So just know that going in, you're not going to see Toy Story or anything of the sort in here. This is strictly Disney and classic Disney at that. So let's go ahead and get started. Coming in at number 10, without a doubt, has to be... How did this get in here? I actually don't have the film. I do not know where it is. I know I have the classic VHS tape somewhere, but it is Mulan. Just a wonderful soundtrack, great story. And I just remember seeing that movie in theaters with my dad and my sister. And then I actually distinctly remember my dad bringing it home from work one day when he had purchased it on VHS for my sister and I. So, a wonderful movie, certainly had to make my list. Number 9 has to be The Aristocats. Another classic one with just a wonderful, wonderful soundtrack. This is going to get pretty monotonous in me saying that the soundtrack in these movies is just, superb. But The Aristocats especially... when the cats are in that warehouse and they sing that song, everyone wants to be a cat. You have the guys on the saxophones and the piano, the grand piano, and it's just going absolutely nuts, crazy, singing that song, just so good. But the story overall is just so charming and just a really, really likable little cast of characters. So if you haven't seen The Aristocats, you need to check it out. It is so good. Coming in at number 8, some people may say it's for girls only, but you're crazy if you have not watched this movie. This is also a Disney classic, and that is The Little Mermaid. Now, I don't even want to say anything about this film. I just want you guys to go check out someone's channel, and her name is Tracy Hines. Oh my goodness. Absolutely gorgeous, and just one of the most beautiful voices I've ever heard. But she's actually been featured in some of Retro Liberty's recent videos, so definitely check those out. I'll post a link to her channel. But she has, done renditions of some of the songs that are featured in this film, and she does a tremendous job doing that. So, The Little Mermaid, if you haven't seen it, another absolute classic. And The Little Mermaid 2 actually isn't too bad either, but this is also one of my favorites. Love this movie growing up with my sister. Coming in at number 7, might be a little controversial for some. Many sequels, especially when it comes to animated films, I try and stray away from because a lot of times they're straight to DVD, video release, and they're just, different voice actors and just poorly animated and just terrible story. It's taken in weird directions. But this one I think is certainly the exception, and that is The Lion King 2: Simba's Pride. I really, really like this movie. I think it has some really interesting and just great songs in this movie, and the story's even taken in some dark directions with Scar's kind of like ancestors coming back, and I think that was really kind of cool how they did that. And Timon and Pumbaa are still in it. Voice actors are still the same. You have Matthew Broderick playing Simba. It's just really, really good, and I just loved it so much. So if you haven't seen Simba 2 or The Lion King 2. Simba's Pride, definitely check it out. It's definitely worth watching and definitely a nice follow-up to one of my favorite movies. Coming in at number 6 is also probably not going to be a lot of people's favorite, but my sister and I just adore this movie to death, and that is The Sword and the Stone. Definitely one of the older Disney movies, but there are a lot of other classic tunes in this. One of my favorites is the To and Fro, when Merlin and Wart is what they call him. They call him Wart. When they turn into fish, and they basically just, sing this little To and Fro song. I don't know, you have to see it. If you know the movie, you're definitely familiar with the tune, but really great stuff here. And I actually got this for Blu-ray for Christmas, so I'm really, really pumped about that, and it looks great remastered on Blu-ray for sure. Alright, so now we're getting into the best of the best, the top 5 Keeping in mind, though, that some of your favorites may not be in this list, just know that going in. But at number 5, we have one of the most heartfelt stories, definitely a tearjerker towards the end, and that is Fox and the Hound. One of the greatest stories of friendship you'll ever see in an animated film, and just really is, pulls at your heartstrings towards the end. But I just love this movie to death, and this is another one that my sister and I grew up watching nearly every day. And, I have not seen the sequel to this one, but I've heard mixed things, so I'm kind of hesitant to see that one. But if you have seen it, let me know. And if you have not seen Fox and the Hound 1, you certainly need to do yourself a favor and check it out. But get the 2 tissue boxes ready, because the end is certainly pretty upsetting, and it's a tearjerker. What can I say? Number 4 probably is going to make anyone's top 10 list, and that is Beauty and the Beast. Just another wonderful Disney movie. The soundtrack is almost second to none, really, and just a really great story. And of course, Beauty and the Beast has been on, it's been depicted on Broadway, as many Disney films have. But also, there was a show in the 90s with, I don't know the name of the actress, but Sarah Connor from The Terminator, she was in it, and it was kind of like an actual live-action depiction of Beauty and the Beast. And of course, there's been other, live-action films also that have been done as a result of this classic Disney movie. But it is so good, great characters, and also, like I said, a wonderful soundtrack. So, Beauty and the Beast, if you haven't seen this, my goodness, what are you Number doing? 3, I'm going to say it again, I've said it so many times, an unbelievable soundtrack. I've literally purchased the soundtrack to this movie, and that is Hercules. Oh my goodness. Do yourselves a favor and stay far away from the 2 Hercules movies that are coming out this year. One, I think, releases today or tomorrow. Of course, depending on when this video goes up, I don't know. And then there's one later in the year coming out with The Rock. Avoid those at all costs and see this. This is where it is at. This is the true story of Hercules. And my goodness, that soundtrack is incredible. Alright, so here we go with the top 2 Disney movies of all time. We have, at number 1, of course, the one, the only, Aladdin. I adore this movie. My sister and I also watched this nearly every day growing up. You have Robin Williams playing as the genie, which is just so hilarious. He reprised his role, of course, in Jafar Returns, I believe is the sequel, which is also an excellent movie. Definitely a well-welcomed sequel, in the Disney franchise of movies. But this one definitely takes the cake and holds the number 1 spot for the Aladdin movies, I should say. And if you have not seen this, certainly check it out. It is so good.
The following few seconds may not be suitable for young audiences due to an extremely real depiction of awesomeness. You've been forewarned.
Well, here's the tape, but do I really need to go into any further detail as far as why this movie is my favorite? I don't think so. Thanks for watching, everyone.